You were not born to live as a mask. You are not meant to move through life as a collection of habits, roles, or unconscious patterns. Deep beneath the surface of your personality, there is something older, something sacred: the self. And according to Carl Jung, your life's true task is to become it. This is individuation, not perfection, not performance, but integration. It is the unfolding of who you were always meant to be, beyond the noise of the world and the wounds of the past. But this transformation does not happen by accident. It is a journey with structure, a deep inner architecture that Carl Jung outlined in 4 essential phases. Each stage invites a descent into shadow, into contradiction, into memory, and through that descent, a return. A return to center, a return to essence. The path is not linear, it is spiral. You revisit old wounds with new eyes. You peel back layers only to find deeper truths beneath them. In the reflections ahead, we'll walk through the 4 major phases of Carl Jung's individuation process, not as theory, but as living invitations. Because becoming your real self isn't about changing who you are. It's about remembering who you've always been, confronting the persona, the collapse of who you thought you were. We are all born into expectations, spoken and unspoken. To survive, we learn to wear a mask. We become the obedient child, the overachiever, the nice one, the strong one. This constructed self Carl Jung called the persona. It is not inherently false, it's functional. But it is not you. The persona helps you fit in. It protects you from rejection. It allows you to move through society. But at some point, if your soul is honest, the mask begins to feel heavy. The laughter feels rehearsed. The words you speak no longer feel like your own. You wake up one day and wonder, whose life is this, really? The first step of individuation is not becoming more, it's unraveling. It's the quiet collapse of the image you spent years curating. And yes, it feels like death. Because in a way it is. The death of illusion. The death of borrowed identity. But this death is sacred. It creates space. Carl Jung taught that confronting the persona is a threshold. You don't throw it away, you simply stop mistaking it for your essence. You learn to wear it when needed and to remove it when alone. You begin to ask, who am I when I'm not performing? And slowly something deeper begins to breathe, meeting the shadow, embracing what you've rejected. The second phase of individuation requires a descent, not into darkness as danger, but into darkness as truth. This is the encounter with the shadow. All the parts of you you were told were unlovable, unworthy, unwise, anger, envy, desire, fear. You buried them to be good. But buried does not mean gone. Carl Jung warned, what you reject inwardly does not disappear. It waits. It acts out in projection, addiction, judgment, and shame. The shadow will enter through the back door if you don't welcome it through the front. Meeting the shadow is not easy. It means confronting your capacity for contradiction. It means realizing you are not only the roles you play, but also the impulses you fear. But this confrontation is not corruption, it is integration. When you stop fearing your shadow, you begin to understand it. You learn that your rage contains your boundaries. Your jealousy holds your longing. Your darkness guards your power. Carl Jung believed that wholeness, not goodness, is the true goal. And wholeness requires that nothing within you be exiled. The shadow isn't there to shame you, it's there to complete you. Integrating the Anima/Animus, reclaiming your inner other deep within the psyche, Carl Jung identified a sacred polarity, the Anima and the Animus, the unconscious feminine and the masculine side. These are not tied to gender, they are archetypal energies, psychological bridges to wholeness. And for most, they remain unclaimed, projected outward onto lovers, heroes, or ideals. The Anima whispers in dreams, in longing, in creative flow. She is intuition, feeling, receptivity. The Animus appears in logic, ambition, protection, and clarity. Left unconscious, they distort. The Anima becomes the seductress, or the fantasy. The Animus becomes the critic, or tyrant. When disowned, they rule from the shadows. Integration begins when you recognize that what you seek in others lives inside you, when you stop needing someone else to embody your wholeness and begin to embody it yourself. The man reconnects with tenderness and vulnerability. The woman reclaims clarity, voice, and boundary. This union within doesn't eliminate desire, it purifies it. It transforms relationship from projection to presence. You stop falling in love with illusions and start relating soul to soul. Carl Jung believed that to integrate the anima or animus is to awaken the bridge to the self. You become internally balanced, no longer needing completion, but ready to create from wholeness. Union with the self, living from the deep center within. This is the destination that was never a destination, the point that lives not at the end, but at the center, the self. In Carl Jung's vision, the self is not a perfected version of you, it is the timeless core of your being, the totality of who you are, both conscious and unconscious. It is what you were before the mask, beneath the wound, beyond the fear. To reach this place is not to escape life, it is to re-enter it, whole. It is to walk through the world no longer seeking to prove, impress, or earn your place. It is to live with a quiet authority, not over others, but over your own reactions, desires, and responses. Union with the self feels less like victory and more like return. You return to inner balance, to sacred neutrality, to choice that is not reaction but resonance. You begin to speak with your own voice. You begin to live in rhythm with your own nature. This isn't a constant state. You may lose it and return, but once you've tasted it, you can no longer pretend you are only the mask. You know. And from that knowing, life is no longer a script to follow. It is a mystery you belong to.